Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the REDX podcast. My name is Haley Johnson. I am the host today. And today we have a very exciting guest. We have Isaiah Colton back with us. What's up, Isaiah?
Hey, what's up, Haley? Thanks for having me back.
Of course, welcome. If you haven't seen him before, he's been on our podcast, I think once or twice before, but we have him back and we have a lot of great content we're going to be talking about today. So be sure to stay till the end as well and ask your questions. This is a participatory event. So if you have any questions for Isaiah as he's going out through his presentation, be sure to put them in the comments and we'll get those answered. But I think that's it for beginning business. Isaiah, why don't you just give us a little bit of an introduction into who you are for those that don't know who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the real estate space since 2014. Our very first year in business, we did about 151 transactions. I would like to say the first in the beginning was smooth and great, but it wasn't. It was a struggle. And a lot of that struggle came because we were looking for great ways to generate seller leads. I didn't want to be, our brokerage, we didn't want to really depend on buyers from the very get-go. And, through that kind of struggle and figuring it out, we developed a really great process of generating and converting, closing, and getting referrals on the listing side of the business. And we were able to really just develop something special. And we ended up, between our brokerage and our referral program that we developed, doing over 1,000 transactions a year. And now, basically, my passion is to go across and teach people, go across the country and teach people how we did that. And I'm really excited to be here with REDX because you guys were a huge part of helping us along this journey. To be able to do that. And so I'm going to be talking today a lot about lead generation, particularly how to generate unlimited seller leads. And I know that's a bold statement, but I promise you it's possible, even in today's market where the inventory is crazy. You just got to have the right systems in place. So we're going to talk about that today.
I love that. I love what helped you in the beginning is kind of what we're going to talk about today. So my first question, and then we can kind of get into leveraging these things to create an unlimited pool of seller leads. Is this something that you can apply, these systems that we're about to talk about, is this something you can apply in any market? Is this something particular to the low inventory market that we have today? Just kind of like talk about that with market fluctuations and things like that.
Yeah, the greatest thing is, and this is the common misconception that's happening right now, is we think there's not enough seller leads. And that's false. We just are not finding them we don't know how to find them before they get to the market, or we don't know how to find, or we don't know how to go after the low-hanging fruit that's right in front of us because we just don't have the right strategies in place. So literally, this system will work no matter what place in the country that you're in. You can actually create a system to generate and convert seller leads almost on demand. I call it listings on demand, and that's what's so exciting about it. And you don't even need to have a huge budget. So whether you're brand new or whether you're already crushing in real estate, you can execute on this. Now, of course, the bigger budget you have, the more things you can do to accelerate it and to make it work faster and better. But no matter what, you can execute on it, no matter what situation you're in.
All right, listings on demand. That's quite the promise there. So let's get into it.
All right, cool. So here's how it works. We have a fundamental belief that you have to own your database. So I'm going to start there with sales and marketing fundamentals. If you want to be successful in any business, especially real estate, you have to buy in and take 100% ownership that your database is your most valuable asset.
Right.
So starting there, if we can't agree on that, folks, I'm sorry, I don't have anything else to share with you. But most, we can agree on that, right? And I ask this question all the time. I ask the question to really successful real estate agents doing 50, 100, 500 transactions. And I say, hey, look, let me ask you, how much would you sell your database to me? And they're like, and they, I get all sorts of different responses. My favorite one was in the last convention that I did. It was a group of I was training over 1,000 agents on a virtual screen nationwide through Zoom. And I asked that question to a really high profile agent. And he goes to me, Isaiah, I don't know if you could afford my database. if you bought it. And I go, you want to challenge me? Throw out a number, right? So we were having a really fun dialogue. And here's the thing, to really generate the amount of seller leads that you need, it starts with owning your database. But then from there, you have to look at the type of leads that you're generating, right? And making sure that you have the right, what I call the right lead mix, okay, to make it work. And so what I did is I got a little chart here, and these are general rules of thumb, okay? Depending on a few different things, we could debate where these fall. But basically, your A list are people that are in what I call a shorter conversion cycle, a cash conversion cycle, okay? Meaning like they're within like 1 to 3 months of selling, okay? So you need leads coming in that have a shorter conversion cycle, because you gotta keep the cash flow going, right? Then you should be purchasing leads or looking at leads that maybe are at a different conversion cycle, longer cycles to convert, okay? And then you have your list that's a C list that they're really kind of probably a ways out. You got to really nurture them over the long haul. So this is a general funnel of a really well balanced database where you're building your database and you're working your database. Now, I've found a way to kind of accelerate this system no matter what lead type that you get, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on geographical leads, where traditionally common wisdom would tell you it takes a long time to nurture a farm, right? A long time to nurture a geographical farm. And if you're doing postcards and you're doing different campaigns, wait 12 to 14 months, because you're probably not going to see an ROI with your geographical farm unless you do that. Now, here's the great part. We live in a world of unbelievable technology and marketing. You don't have to wait that long anymore. Okay, so now geographical leads, even though traditionally they're kind of up here on the C list, I'm going to share with you a way to draw out the people that are thinking about selling but aren't talking to an agent yet. And this is how you generate unlimited seller leads. Okay. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about why FSBOs and expireds need to be on your A list, because they're already selling. The hardest part about marketing is actually identifying somebody who is in a short enough cycle, sales cycle, conversion cycle, to even go after and make it worth your time to market to them. Mm-hmm. So instead of saying, oh, it's hard to work for somebody owners, it's hard to work of expires. The only reason why it's hard is because we don't have the right systems in place. We don't have the right process in place. And by the way, I'm going to do a more in-depth training on what I'm sharing with you, okay, at a lead generation, lead conversion challenge we have coming up starting Monday. So you're going to want to stay tuned to the end to figure out how to get access to that training, okay, where we'll talk about that at the end. But I have a full in-depth training I'm going to do on that, okay? But here's how it works. First, what you want to do is you want to link up with a tool like REDX. And you want to go out and you want to pick geographical farms, okay? So for me, I do it a little bit unconventional, okay? I don't just focus on a couple geographical farms, okay? This is what I do. I actually pull all of the suburbs I want to do business in, okay? So that's step number one. But if you want to start a little bit more condensed, that's fine. But right now, just so you know, I have over 10,000 Geo Leads in my database, okay? For our brokerage, we have 10,000 Geo Leads. Isaiah, that's a ton. Like, are you working all 10,000? No, I'm not. But I'm going to share with you what we are doing. So whatever amount you decide to work with, you got to link up with a tool like REDX, pull the geographical data, okay? Then what you want to do, you also want to pull and identify where your for sale by owners and your expireds are in those areas, which you can also use REDX to do that. Okay, so that's step number one. Number two, this was a huge breakthrough for me. I used to get frustrated because I used to make a ton of calls, and I'm by nature, like, I became a marketer second, but I was a prospecting and sales machine first. Like, I cold called like I would set up 3 to 5 appointments would be a bad day for me, prospecting through REDX. Okay, wow. So So I got really good at that, but I would constantly say to them, I'd be looking for ways to speed that process up and to work smarter. And I started learning and studying this art and science of smart calling, of gaining intelligence, of finding an angle, looking at different things, and then in that process, getting smarter and smarter at it. And then this thing called AI started coming out. And we know this is the first phase of it was predictive analytics, okay, where we kind of looked at government data. We looked at how much equity in the home was, and we tried to predict whether somebody was going to be selling. Well, what's happened since then, the next generation of AI is actually behavioral analytics. So it's even smarter. And for a lot of you that have tried AI before or have heard this conversation, don't prejudge what I'm about to say to you, because it's advanced so much in 10 years, it's not even funny. Where to the point where I've developed technology, and there's other companies out there that have this technology too that you can look up, and where basically you can actually rank and score and start tracking the behavior of the leads in your database. So as long as you have the email of the Geo Lead, okay, you can actually start monitoring their behavior. And we track search data, social data, okay, government data, okay, and purchase data. So these things are all, anything that's attached to their email, all these things are happening, like what conversations they're having on Facebook, what they're searching. Are they going to Zillow 42 times in a month, looking at homes, right? And all these different things are indications that, this is the key word, folks, write this down, that they're likely to move, okay? That they're likely to move. And that's the purpose of this tech. So what we do within our 10,000 database, okay, we code it with this AI that's tracking all of these people, okay? So now our next step is we have a ranking system. So when it hits a certain score, we consider it hot. So when they have a certain amount of indicators that they're likely to move, it turns hot. So what's awesome, if you were to look in our database, okay, we actually have over 1,000 leads, 1,000 leads in our database that are likely to move, okay? So what happens now is, now what we do is we create a specialized marketing campaign, not to go after all 10,000, but to go after the ones that are likely to move based on this behavioral analytics formula. Now, here's the thing. Is it perfect? No, right? It's still AI. AI is not perfect, right? Humans aren't perfect. Nothing's perfect, but it gives us a competitive advantage to narrow our list down from a large pool. So that's step number 2. Now, step number 3 is we come up with a custom sales and marketing plan. Okay. So, and this largely depends on your budget, right? So for me, we do a Facebook retargeting ad. So we take this list, upload it to our tool that we have that's linked to our Facebook Manager account. And then what we do is we start remarketing to them. We start target marketing to that list. So there's brand awareness. There's different call to actions. We do different ads, put different ads in front of them. So that's number 1. Very cost effective. It's like anybody can afford to do that part. Anybody can. So that's number 1. And then number 2, what we do is we have a postcard campaign that we do. Okay. So there's a strategic postcards. So our farm is different. We're not farming an area. We're farming the hot leads.
Wow.
So now our dollars, our marketing dollars, are actually it's more cost effective for us to do it because they're more likely to be moving. So we're able to farm smarter. Okay.
Yeah.
So and there's other things too. So then there's other campaigns like you can use video text or texting campaigns. And here's the thing: pick up the phone and call them. Right? Prospect, have a conversation with them. And I'm going to give you guys such a simple script. Okay, ready?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
So simple. Anybody can do it. It doesn't take training. Okay. And it's something that will virtually eliminate any really nasty rejection. Okay. And it's a simple survey call. It's a survey call. And this is all it is to your hot leads. You just simply say, hi, this is Isaiah Colton with Ren Home Advisors. I was just, that's the name of our brokerage, by the way.
Yeah.
So I just was giving you guys a quick call because I'm calling a handful of people in the neighborhood, just kind of doing a quick survey. I don't know if you know this, but there's a ton of demand right now in the neighborhood, not enough inventory. And I was just curious to see if you knew anybody in the neighborhood, if they got an above asking offer or the right offer for their home, if they would consider selling. How much talent did that take, Haley? I'm sorry, but my 9-year-old son could have that conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to say, generally speaking, 3 things. Hey, no, I don't, I'm not interested. Okay. Not interested. I don't know anybody. Mm-hmm. Response number 1. Response number 2 is, it's interesting that you called me because I've actually been thinking about selling, but I'm kind of concerned if I'm going to be able to find something.
Yep.
Boom. Conversation, right? And then the third response is, you know what? It's interesting that you called because my neighbor, I think, is thinking about selling. You should call them.
Boom.
Those are your 3 responses. Mm-hmm. And now if you can just have an effective dialogue, ask the right questions, dig out pain and motivation, time frame, what they're looking to do, their goals, their dreams, figure that out. Now you have an appointment that is falling somewhere within a 3 to 6 months, sales cycle or conversion cycle, and you're only limited by how many leads you decide to put into your system.
Well, and I like because instead of calling 10,000 leads or all of these non-hot leads, right, you're focusing on the people that are most likely to sell.
Yep.
Because I hear all the time from agents, they're like, oh, I'm wasting my time. I'm calling for hours and hours and no one's picking up, or it's a wrong number or whatever. But you're calling the people who are actually going to want to talk to you, right?
Yeah, great point, Haley. Great point. At least they're more likely to be.
Yeah.
Like your odds are much better than blindly going into a geo area, right? So here's what's even better about it. Because the conversation's so simple, it doesn't take a highly trained person to be able to articulate and have this conversation. Mm-hmm. You can actually have an inside sales agent that may even potentially be in the Philippines or overseas that you can hire for $4 to $6 an hour to go do this survey call. Because that's all it is. And here's the thing: if you don't, and by the way, for those of you that are prejudging what I said about the person in the Philippines, there's so much talent if you know how to go and interview them the right way. And you interview, there's so much talent in the Philippines. Not even funny. I have 15 inside sales agents that work for me that call all day, and they're all in the Philippines, and that's all they're doing is having this conversation, identifying these people. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: we don't even have them set the appointment. We just have them do an initial survey, and then our agent or our inside sales agent that's here in the US follows up with them. Mm. So depending on your budget, there's a lot of different ways to attack the prospecting and follow-up part, right? Right. And now as long as you have good follow-up, you follow back up with them, you set your appointment, you qualify, and you now literally have an unlimited pool of listings. Now, here's the thing. Is there cost to this? Yes, but here's the thing. How much are you paying Zillow right now per lead? Like most markets, it's insane, right? The amount of money that that agents are paying to Zillow on a high level, you could literally come up with this. I know how much REDX costs. Okay, extremely affordable. Okay, the AI technology is very affordable. You can rank 1,000 leads for maybe like $300-400 a month. Okay. But think about how much time it's going to be saving you. Your marketing activities, right? You put some of that together. And if you can't afford, if this is kind of where your cap is, then you can just prospect and add in all the other marketing later as your budget builds, right? Mm-hmm. And what gets really exciting is the more budget you have, now you can become omnipresent. You can build a multi-channel marketing approach, and then it starts getting fun from there. So Haley, that's really, I don't want to overcomplicate it. That's really the system. There's a more in-depth process that I'm going to get into at training. Mm-hmm. that we can kind of talk about and go through as far as scripts, dialogues, objections, how your follow-up funnel should look like, and they can actually go to. I think you actually dropped the link in there. It looks like you dropped the link in there. Is that the lead gen challenge link? I think that's what I see in your chat. The private. Okay, is that the private?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll drop that for people.
Drop that. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want a more detailed approach, and then you want to actually get a taste of a little bit more of what the prospecting call would sound like, the objection process, the follow-up process, what your content could look like, how to leverage REDX, okay, and leverage that data to get this set up, how to get all of this set up. You're going to want to show up to the challenge we have. And really, here's what the challenge is all about, Haley. It's about taking a system like this and hyper-focusing on a niche, declaring our goals, declaring what our goals is going to be for the next 30 days, getting the system set up, and then surrounding ourselves with like-minded people and going out and generating as many listings as we possibly can within a 30-day period. That's really what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to be game planning on how to do it. That's why I call it the lead generation, lead conversion challenge, right?
Yeah.
And it's really exciting and cool because I'm going to share this with you. We have awesome prizes. We have over $10,000 in prizes and giveaways. And the top 3 people get one of these bad boys.
Oh.
Okay. So at the end of the challenge, you're going to be able to put this and hang this on your wall. This is what we call our Rainmaker Rewards program. Okay. So you're going to be able to put this on the wall and just proclaim that you were the best out of hundreds of people. Literally, we have over 500 people registered right now for this challenge. So you're going to be amongst hungry agents that are looking to just go after it, and you're going to be able to mastermind with some of the best of the best at that challenge. Including, I think you guys actually have a speaker.
We do.
Speaking at the challenge. So I'm excited to hear you guys speak. So,
that's awesome. Yeah, and it's free to sign up, right?
Yes, 100% free. We do offer an opportunity to get like a workbook to improve your experience along the way. And if you want to get access to the recordings afterward, there are opportunities to purchase those things, but there's no expectation that you have to do any of that. So it is 100% free to join the challenge. And here's the thing. People are like, well, Isaiah, if this is really valuable, how do you do it for free? The only reason why I'm able to do it for free is because I have amazing, amazing people like yourself and other affiliates that I work with that help me get exposure to these challenges. And otherwise I would have to charge. Mm-hmm. I would have to charge to do this level of training, because how it works, there's 1 hour every day. We go over lead generation, lead follow-up, lead conversion, marketing, and systems in that sequence. So at the last day, we're like ready to go. And we have an awesome staff that supports it. And so it's a great experience. And here's the thing. If you're a team leader right now and you're watching this and be like, I don't have time to go, get your team there. Rally your team. Use this as a tool. Use this as a tool to get your team excited about going out and getting new listings, new opportunities, and do a challenge internally with your team. Do your own challenge. And what's really cool, Haley, we our number 1 challenge winner got 22 listings in 30 days. 22 listings, 12 listings, 9 listings, 4 listings, 5 listings, 3 listings. These are all stories that have come off the challenge.
Just using that simple system. And this is not the only system. We're going to say, hey, look, if you don't want to do this, let's come up with a strategy. Some of them just choose to work their SOI. Some of them say, hey, look, I'm just going to really commit to having the right conversations and using the right dialogues and putting together a marketing system to engage my SOI to get listings from my SOI. Right? So we say, hey, look, you gotta let's pick our lists. Let's get the list together. And then whatever your game plan is, stick to that game plan. And some people, you have a couple different lead sources that they use, Right.
But in this one, we're going to say, hey, look, let's look at our SOI. Let's look at maybe some other different seller lead sources, but 100%, we got to use REDX. Let's get REDX up and running. Let's get it going. And so for those of you that are watching this that are with REDX, I think you're gonna really like this experience, because you're gonna see REDX in a way to use REDX in a whole different light. Okay. So whether you're like using it or not using it, you should be using it. Wherever you're wherever you're at, you're gonna have a totally different experience with REDX and how to leverage this system and other things we're gonna teach.
Wow. And you said it's 1 hour every day for like 5 days?
1 hour for every day for 5 days. Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. I feel like that's a small time commitment to everything that you're going to get out of it. So
yeah, I want to say this politely. Clear your, whatever it takes to be there, because
right.
The knowledge you're going to get on using this system, I promise you'll get more than whatever appointment or whatever you have going on. You're going to set yourself up to be able to truly generate listings appointments on demand. Literally. That's my promise. Look, did I follow through?
I mean, yeah.
Right? So that's what it is. It's listings on demand. So
awesome.
Cool.
Okay, well, we still have a few minutes. If you don't mind, we do a little bit of a Q&A from people that they've been asking questions. So
I'd love it.
Okay, great. Our first one is from Amanda, and she asked, how long does it take to determine who's likely to move once entered into your AI system?
24 hours.
Boom.
Yep. Now, what happens, though, Amanda, is it gets smarter over time. So even though it's scoring them high, sometimes the scoring is not quite as accurate, where the longer it can track their behavior, but you can literally, like, within 24 hours have a place to start, right? And know which ones are hot, warm, and maybe you want a more long-term nurturing.
Great. Another question was, which niche produces the most qualified, ready-to-go sellers?
So the cool thing is the AI does a lot of the work for you. So it doesn't matter what lead source it's going in there, whether it's a social media lead or whether it's you're using the technology to do the same thing. I like Geo Leads because it's very cost effective. You can link up with REDX. It's so cost effective to pull a ton of data, right? And then as long as you have an email, right, mm-hmm. you can start your marketing efforts with the AI. And then, of course, you have a phone number and address. Just pick your poison of how you want to market to them. Yeah. Whether it's a phone call, whether it's an ad, or a combination of both, whether it's a postcard, and you just start going after it. Now, here's the thing. I want to be clear. If you're only going to do one form of marketing, just send them a postcard, it's not going to work as good. You got to do, you gotta really make that call is still such a big part of the formula, right? You can do some texting strategies, but you got to really, that call is such a big part of the formula. And the survey call is very important.
Yeah. Actually calling, there was a question that's asked about texting and mailers. They said, is texting useful for cold lead generation? Also mailers, how much should we be spending on these each month?
So the survey text is extremely powerful. You want to make sure it's not like a direct solicitation. It's a survey. Okay. It's extremely powerful though. And you want to make sure you're following your local laws, whatever you're comfortable with there. But what happens is you'll get immediate responses, and sometimes listings, you'll identify people that want to talk fast. So right. It can be very powerful.
Perfect.
Yep. Budget. Sorry, I didn't answer the budget. Whatever your budget can afford, but really not under 500 postcards a month.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. And just touching them in multiple ways. So including social media as well, like you said, ads, and hitting them in different places. Then
yes. If you're on a limited budget, I would recommend actually doing a Facebook targeting ad over a mailer first, because for like $250 you can put your ad and have it cycling in front of all of them.
Yeah.
So I'd rather see you guys leverage the digital side of things first, and then use offline as your budget grows.
Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of people asking what to do as a new agent. So somebody said, I'm a part-time agent struggling to get listings. I've done calling, door knocking, etc., and no success. I've worked with buyers, not much success there either. What's a good CRM that's user-friendly and cost-effective, and things that are just good for a newer agent to focus on?
Yeah, so that's great. There's a lot of different great CRMs out there, and I never like to only promote what I do. So if you can leverage a CRM like Wise Agent, you can leverage a CRM like Lion Desk. Okay, with us, we have what's called our Ren Marketing Hub, which you can do all of your sales, marketing, and service. You can actually execute this entire program from our platform, from our CRM. So a lot of people like to use it from there. We're not the lowest cost. We're not the highest, but we also do daily coaching that's included with it. So we don't just have you like buy into the CRM and not know what to do with it. You actually are assigned a marketing coach, and the marketing coach is there to help you not just become, there's a lot of great business training out there in real estate, but there's not a lot of good marketing training. And so they help you get your database set up, they help you get your system set up, and they're there to actually be a full-blown marketing coach. And then you can join me every single day. I do a live training. People are like, Isaiah, you're crazy. I actually do a training every day for 1 hour on lead generation, lead follow-up, prospecting lead follow-up, lead conversion and closing, social media marketing, video marketing, and then business systems. I do a training on one of those topics, and we just cycle through and we get better and better and better with each other every day.
I love it. Another thing that a few people have asked about, and this is kind of vague, so I'll try to narrow this down. But a lot of people are asking how to convert these leads. Like, what are some principles to make sure that you actually convert them? And I know we've touched on it a little bit, but are there like some core principles or things that we could give the audience right now?
Yeah, absolutely. One is persistence.
Persistence.
You need to have a fearless mindset, and your mindset needs to be, you are the best at what you do. I don't care if you're brand new. I don't care if you're brand new. And because everything else I teach and train, if the mindset isn't right, if you can't get your place in a place of certainty, when you go to follow up, you go to make that call, you go to have that conversation, you're not a place of what Tony Robbins calls certainty, right? And getting yourself in that mindset, a lot of everything else with the scripts and the dialogues and the conversation, it doesn't matter, because without that conviction and that confidence in your voice, just kind of like you hear me right now,
right?
Okay. If I came on camera and I sounded like a stumbling fool, you wouldn't be listening right now, right? If I didn't sound confident in what I'm talking about to you right now, right, you wouldn't listen. So it actually starts with your mindset first, okay? And that starts with your routine first, what you're doing to get yourself in the right mindset. And then from there, there's actually strategies and tactics, okay, you can follow. Here's one thing I would share with you. You can't sound robotic on the phone, okay? You can't get a script and just start reading. You have to really work on your tone, pace, hesitation, modulation. Pretend like you're calling a friend. How would you talk to a friend? Not like the words you'd say to a friend, but like the tone, right? Like your buddy or your pal, maybe not a friend, but like an acquaintance. How would you talk to an acquaintance, right?
Right.
And that's like a rule of thumb. Your tone, your pace, your hesitation, your modulation are very, very important. So if you're making calls and not recording yourself and going back and listening to yourself, you will feel like this. You'll do this. You'll be like, I'm making the calls. It's not working. You know, my dialer sucks. My leads suck. You know, you'll think it's everybody else, but I love you. It's how you sound. Okay. So you got to listen to yourself. Okay. And I'm going to give everybody a scorecard to grade your calls. Okay. When you're making them. Everybody ready? I'm going to go really fast. Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So first and foremost, how well did you build rapport and qualify? How well did you build rapport and ask effective questions? Number one on a scale of 1 to 10 on that call. Number 2, how well did you separate yourself from your competition or build value on yourself? Okay. How well did you speak to the market? Number 3 is how well did you create desire or speak to the market on a scale of 1 to 10? What's happening in the market to create urgency? Okay. And the 4th one is on a scale of 1 to 10, how well did you do at assuming the appointment? Not asking, do you want to meet, but actually saying, okay, hey, let's do this. How well did you do at assuming the appointment? Okay. And then the next one is how well did you do at overcoming their objection? Like, do you actually have the objection internalized? And I say this humbly, Haley, but you could give me any objection right now. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. I have no hesitation. I don't have to think about it, because if I have to think about it, I'm not listening to you.
Right.
I'm not actually having a genuine conversation because I'm too busy worried about what I'm going to say. So I have to score myself on how well I handled that objection and what I call verbal advantages, because let's be real about it, is if I hesitate, I'm losing their trust. I'm like, who is this guy? Right. So, and then the next thing is part of your scorecard is you got to be tracking your metrics, and you got to grade yourself on how well you are at your follow-up and your metrics, where you're tracking your metrics. And the last one is mindset. Okay. So that's a scorecard. And literally in 2014, I came up with that scorecard because I was alone. I was miserable. I had nobody to help me. I had to do some self-learning. And I used that scorecard, Haley, every time I made a call through REDX. That was a meaningful call. I'd take out that scorecard and I'd do that scorecard. Guess what started happening after a couple months? I became deadly. There's nothing, no situation. And I sucked in the beginning. I was horrible, horrible in the beginning.
Right.
But you got to have a scoring system, a self-improvement system where like, if you are doing this by yourself, you got to have a way to be able to self-reflect, or else you'll be frustrated because you'll never be getting better.
Yeah, I mean, no one likes the sound of their own voice, but and listening to yourself, especially in the beginning, and you're probably going to cringe, but that, because it's hard, that's what's actually going to be effective in the long run.
That's
listening to what you should have said, or something you did miss, or
That's so true. And that's why listening, and here's the thing, if you go listen to your recording and you use that scorecard with the recording, you're going to learn so much quicker, and you're going to get so much better. You're going to hear the finer nuances of the call. And that's where the magic happens. It's an art and a science. And if you're not willing to learn and go through the learning curve of the art and science, it can be difficult and frustrating.
Right. I love that. Somebody asked, what's the cost? I think that was about the CRM. What's the cost from Benevolent?
So our cost ranges from $200 to $300 a month, all the way up to thousands of dollars a month, because you don't just get a CRM. You actually are getting a marketing and coaching package with a CRM, and we're also managing and marketing your data to your database for you. So it's kind of like it's marketing, automation, and coaching all in one.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
That same person asked, they wanted a copy of that scorecard. I don't know if you have some sort of thing that we could send people, or we could even have our design guy create one with those questions.
Yeah, actually, if you go to salesandmarketingplaybook.com, okay. We'll put those in. Everything that I teach and train on is in that playbook. There's 300 pages. Okay. But in there, you'll find there's a section there called Prospecting and Lead Conversion Mastery. And the scorecard is in that section, and it breaks down all 7 steps in extreme detail that I went through.
Perfect.
Yep.
I think that's all the questions that we have. And I think we're running out of time here. But Isaiah, I want to give you the last word here. Final advice, final thoughts. Again, we'll share the lead gen challenge link to make sure you can sign up for that for next week. But is there anything important you want to leave us with today?
Yeah, I'll leave you with this. The name of my coaching platform is REN Success Systems, which is a division of Real Estate Nexus. The reason why I use the word systems is because that's what it takes to win in business. Is you have to have systems. You can sit in on as many trainings and coachings as podcasts. It's all great knowledge. You can be part of a coaching program. You can go out and sign up to all these different things. But if you don't actually create a system that you can execute on, you're always going to be frustrated at the end of the day. The motivation only goes so far. The training only goes so far. The next coolest new idea, right, only goes so far. What will get you to where you want to go is taking the time to plan a system. And you look at three things: people, process, and tools. So I'll give an example. In this case, if it's just you, you're a solo entrepreneur, you're the person. You got to plug in. You got to make this part of your daily schedule. You got to be the person, right? You might have an admin or you might have an ISA that can help you with this, but you still have to plug in. That's the people part, right? You maybe you have a coach or maybe you have a consultant that helps you along the way, but that's the people part of the system. And then the process part is what I kind of just laid out for you. This is the process. This is all the things that I need in place, the scripts, the dialogues, right? That's the process, right? Mm-hmm. And then the tools are things like REDX, a CRM, right? That's the tools. And so when you really focus in on creating a system and making sure that you're executing on that system, your income potential and whatever you're trying to accomplish it's unlimited. You have no limits to what you can try to accomplish beyond what you can imagine. And I'll leave you with that.
Perfect. Thank you. I think that's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to our audience about all of this stuff. If you want to learn more, again, I think he's going to be diving into a lot more of this stuff next week. So be sure to sign up for that, especially because you can do it for free and learn a lot of valuable information next week. So again, thank you everybody for watching today. We will be back this time next week, Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time. If you're not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our podcast email updates on our website, theredx.com/podcast. So then you're just updated whenever we have a new episode or anything like that. And I think that's it. Thanks again, awesome. Isaiah. Absolutely. We'll have to have you on again.
My pleasure. I love doing this. So,
awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Have a good one.